Hello, this is J.N.S, and today I want to cover what's a really interesting topic that I was thinking about, honestly, for like the last 2 weeks about Ben Carlson. In particular, I was thinking about, like who's going to be Trump's running mate, and you know, going fast forward and even to 2028 election, like how do we want to set that up as Black Americans to get something in our favor beyond after, whoever wins the 2024 election. But I was thinking as a strategist, and as someone who tends to be very analytical, I think that for the running mate for President Trump, that it should be Ben Carson. Let me actually share my screen because we're actually just going to do like a deep dive into like Ben Carson for those who may not know much about Ben Carson's background, his views, his take. We some of us know that he ran for president in 2016 and lost, and then ended up endorsing Trump, and ended up being serving as the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Trump, and also he had an additional administration role in overseeing the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. And so what I want to do is I want to get into like deeper into like what was his views during that 2016 presidential campaign. Now, when he ran in 2016, he didn't have the experience of politics and of confidence of the nation to actually like win. Like for one, a lot of people didn't even know who he was, including Black Americans. And so like it's kind of like when I want to say his name is Herman Cain ran, people just didn't take it serious. It was like, okay, who is this? Like people put him in that same box as, oh, okay, here's this Black Republican running, and just kind of not taking him serious. And I think that going forward, we need not do that. Now, Ben Carson may not be planning a run for 2028 or even in the future after 2028. I'm not sure. I don't know his end game. I don't know this man. I'm not paid to say any of this stuff. This is just me thinking in terms of how do we get a Black American president in the White House who shares our views. For one, that's important. They shares many of our conservative views, as well as things that we can even negotiate for him to stand on, to even vote him in terms of the things that matter to us. And so we'll cover a little bit about that. I just want to pause this for a second. I'm going to pause this for a second because I need to get just one moment. But we're gonna recover this in depth. Let me mute this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that, guys. Okay, so got it situated. So pretty much, I want to cover uh Ben Carlson's kind of like his resume, will you, and why I think personally that he should be the running mate for uh President Trump as far as the vice president. He's the only candidate in my eyes that makes sense. No other candidate makes sense. As simple as that. Now they had there was like this speculation that Tim Scott was, let me just make sure I got the name right. I think it's Tim Scott, the United States Senator, the black guy, this guy right here, that he was going to be the running mate, and you know, he was Trump kind of sunned him, not kind of, he sunned him, um, recently, and he proposed, I think like 48 hours after uh endorsing Trump, like he had like proposed to some white woman to be married or whatever. And then Trump something about the Nikki Haley situation. And so it looked like, I don't know, for me, I didn't see it. I never saw it. I don't understand how people jumped out the window and thought Tim Scott was going to be the the vice president or Trump's running mate. Like that to me is very obvious that they don't click. Um, and even though he said, "Oh, I just love you," when Trump sunned, and he was like, "No, it's just that I just love you." After he, pretty much that whole situation was Trump letting him know, "I don't trust you. I know you a snake." Just like all the people around him, just like the Indian guy. What's that Indian? Um, yeah, him, Vivek Ramswari. He just now dropped out of the race, and now he wants to act like he's endorsing Trump or whatever. When all these people was ready to feed him to the wolves, just like DeSantis and all of them. So, um, for me, nobody makes sense for a running mate besides Ben Carson when you think about it. And so, um, no, I don't think Tim Scott was gonna. I don't think Tim Scott was gonna become his running mate. I never thought that shit. It don't look right. Something off with some. Even though he is senator, he got political experience or whatever. But I personally didn't see it. I never saw it. And so let's talk about Ben Carlson though, because a lot of us, I want to actually I don't want to talk about his political views yet. I just want to talk about him as a person, because I think it's important that Black Americans start to become obviously politically sophisticated and astute, but also to kind of start thinking steps ahead, in terms of like beyond 2024 elections, beyond the local elections and whatnot, but starting to plan 10, 15, 20 years out of how they want to program their politics and their system. And so you have to set that stuff up a decade ahead of its time, in terms of, we talk about as Black Americans, oh, we want these reparations, we want this anti-black anti-hate crime bill, we want things to go in our favor, we want you know set aside specifically for descendant of slavery for our lineage, in regards to closing the lineage wealth gap, the things that we have to deal with, medical apartheid. We want these things, but then year after year or term after term, you go and take your ass and vote for the Democrats, or you put yourself in a position where neither one is good for you, whether it be Republican or Democrat. The two-party system is not serving you, and it's like, okay, so how do you get ahead in all of this? Do you go Green Party? Do you create a third system? What do you do? Do you create a parallel system, or do you finagle what you have now to try to see if you could get a foot in edgewise by planning something 15, 20 years ahead, in terms of starting in 2024, of who you get in the White House, as well as their running mate, their vice president, and then have an agenda for that particular person, in terms of, okay, is that person planning to run for 2028, or are they planning to run for 2032? Like, how does those things look? So I think as Black Americans, when we talk about, the possibility, probability of reparations on the docket in terms of being actualized, I would say that is something that needs to be planned in mind with subsequent terms beyond just 2024, because this is going to be a shit show. 2024 is going to be a shit show. Let me see. Let me just go to Ben Carson's Wikipedia, because I actually just want to cover who he actually is. And if he's not going to run for 2028, then excuse me, because I am putting him out there like that, like like putting it on him. But I do want to see one of our own in the White House. I think that would be cool. But also, I think that if he's going to run in 2028 for president after the Trump situation, then we just need to start getting in his ear now. It is a strong possibility that he will run for 2028 if he gets the vice presidency. Very much a possibility. If he becomes the vice president to Trump and Trump wins, then we can set it up in his ear, or we can delegitimize him if he don't. Like if he say he decides to run for 2028, we can get in his ear now. We got 4 years to get in his ear about the things that we want as Black Americans for his own people and solidify his legacy forever. Now, obviously, he's going to be the president of all of America. But in terms of the things that we need, just like with all groups of people, we can go to him and set that up in 2028, get him in there. He delivers on his promises, or he becomes delegitimized by the people. Okay, but if he's going to run in 2028, which I got a strong feeling that he will, because he never. Why would he give up his dreams of being the president if he ran in 2016? Now, right now, I do think he needs that political bearing in terms of becoming the vice president. I think that would be a great look. And then after becoming vice president, then he should run for president in 2028. And he should have things for the American people. And we're going to go over his views. His views are in alignment with most of Black America. So why y'all ignored him in 2016 will always be beyond me. Because when we read and go through his views, I guess y'all was brainwashed by the hate Trump shit. And, I don't know, the Democrats, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But, like, we should have jumped on that probably in 2016. Now, maybe he didn't have a chance or whatever because he didn't have the experience and he wouldn't get the vote of the entire country. Let's be clear. Ben Carson is very respected amongst all people. All people. He is a global icon, but beyond just, that stuff, he's respected. His character is respected and transcends just being in a box. He's not in a box. He's respected by his people still. He hasn't sold his people out. He's respected by middle America. You need middle. If you don't get middle America on your side, worker class America, bourgeoisie America. If you don't have that, you're not going to win anything. And so he has the air of he could have the air of middle America. He can't have the air of Black America. He can't have the air of bourgeoisie America. So to me, the only thing that makes sense is a Ben Carson vice president running mate. And another thing is Ben Carson, when it comes to his relationship with Trump, they're kind of symbiotic in that sense. He don't try to outdo him. He don't try to cause spectacles, because that's another thing. When you're vice president, you don't want to come off like you're undermining, your president, like kind of like how Dick Cheney and Trump fell out at that last minute. They was cool, and then when it came to back him, when it really came to ride out for him, he threw him under the bus. And so, Ben Carson hasn't done that. And so he doesn't try. He's not someone that craves attention and spotlight. He's not one that has to be seen. His gifts naturally speak for him. So let's actually just go over Ben Carson, his social characteristics, his social capital. We'll talk about that, and then we're going to just actually talk about his political views and how it pretty much aligned with most of what Black America be thinking. The only thing we need to do is get him on a Black American redress campaign. Now he don't have to make a spectacle of this. My thing is, you got to work clandestine when you want these things done. This anti-hate bill for Black Americans, I think that can easily be doable. We can demand that in 2024 or whatever he runs. We could demand that now with this platinum plan for Black America. We could do that, but then more importantly, like say Biden get in there, or say we don't get what we want in 2024, we can set this up for in 2028. We can make history, and all the way. We have 4 years to work up to what we want. We have 4 years to get any type of redress that we want, any type of bills that we want. We'll still have those 4 years. Well, whoever's in office, will put that. You continue to put that pressure on them, but you also want to be proactive. You don't want to just be reactive. You want to be proactive in, like, okay, how can we get one of our own in there? For multiple terms, not just no one motherfucking term, not just no Ben Carson, and then you don't see another Black American in there for the next 50 to 100 years. No, we talking about the next 20, 30, 50 years, just Black Americans in office. Like it's norm. Just like how for all these years we had European Americans and nobody's questioned it, thought anything about it, nobody thought it was anything wrong with it. It's going to be the same thing with Black Americans. You just have to believe it. You know in your heart that that's what day and time we're in. If you don't, and it's not about necessarily a race thing. It is a consciousness. It is a consciousness thing that America is going into. But as we talk about, like, golden age for America, me personally, I don't like the "Make America Great Again" slogan. I think it needs to be "Golden Age for America" slogan. That's what Ben Carson needs to run on. When he goes for 2028, it needs to be "Golden Age for America," straight up. When he goes, and right now, let's just cover. I don't want to go on any more tangents. Let's just cover who he is for those who don't know. So obviously, his name is Benjamin Solomon Carson Sr., born in 1951. So we all know he was a neurosurgeon. He's an academic. He's an author, and now he's going into politics. He went into politics. He served as the 17th United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development from 2017 to 2021. He's also a pioneer in the field of neurosurgery. Okay, and we all know he ran for president in 2016. He didn't win, obviously, and he's looked at as to be one of the most prominent Black conservatives in America. And so he was also the director of pediatric neurosurgery at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center in 1984 at age 33. And so he was the youngest chief of pediatric neurosurgery in the United States. Okay. And so he gained significant fame after leading a whole team of surgeons in the first known separation of conjoined twins. Okay. So he was the first to do that. And the surgery was a success. So his additional accomplishments include a successful neurosurgical procedure on a fetus inside the womb, as well as developing new methods to treat brainstem tumors and techniques of controlling seizures. Okay, so he wrote over 100 neurosurgical publications. Okay, so he retired in 2013. And at that time, he was a professor of neurosurgery, oncology, plastic surgery, and pediatrics at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. Okay, and so Carlson is considerably genius in that sense. You have to have great precision, not only great precision but great competence to do neurosurgery, to work on somebody's damn brain, or to separate twins from the brain, operating on fetuses inside the womb. You have to be smart as fuck. You have to be disciplined as fuck, and you have to be confident. You have to be confident. Okay, and so these are characteristics, just to overall his body of work. So now we're just studying his body of work. His body of work is one where he's structured. You can tell he's a structured person. You could tell with me, I don't get like this, some people have this mystical, whimsical aura about them. He seems very pragmatic, very logical, very, analytical, a little dry, but that's okay. That's okay. Because with Black Americans, what we have to do, we understand that we are multifaceted people. Like we always like to say, Don't try to put us in a box, or we're not a monolith. And that's true. And so obviously, he's not a monolith. He is one of our prominent ones that we should respect, that we should be admiring and looking up to. For someone who is great at, pediatric neurosurgery, who shares our conservative views. A lot of y'all love to say, "Oh, we are Democrats," da, 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 da. But let's be real. Most of y'all are very conservative. Most Black Americans, social wise, and if it wasn't for the Republicans obviously being so damn racist, they that's their full that's foolishness on their part. I'm not saying we need to go jump on Republicans and be Republicans. I'm not saying that shit at all. What I'm saying is, like, we kind of put in a box politically, not of our own making. We have the power to get out of that box, obviously, but we've been put, and this could be social engineering, mind control programming, whatever, however you want to look at it. Media programming, just severe brainwashing, however you want to look at it. But we really don't align with none of the stuff that the Democrats be pushing on our people. We really don't. We talking about from our most ratchet all the way up to our most prominent, our most bourgeoisie. You talk to niggas in the hood, they got conservative views. I'm from the hood, so I know. I've also been around bourgeoisie niggas as well. You talk to any one of our people from any class, socioeconomic status and class, we share we share conservatism when you think about it. Even if you talk to, you talk to those who you would claim is not high up in the socioeconomic stratification, they don't agree with stuff from the left that they push on our people. So that's just something to think about. I'm not saying go jump and make your decision and go do it. I don't care what you do. I really don't. I just find it as a point of from the point of view of a sociologist, or from the point of view of someone just finds this stuff fascinating. I just find it interesting that, for year after year, for the last 50 to 60 years, we've been voting Democrat to the tune of 90 to 96%. So 90%, around 90 to 96% of Black Americans are consistently voting for Democrat year after year, term after term, whatever, what have you. And now we're kind of disillusioned with all of that in 2024. But at the same time, it's like, why aren't we dissecting and sitting down and dissecting the actual views? Like, what views are you supporting? Like, why are you supporting the Democrats? Like, why are we supporting them? Like, is it because we were told that? Is it because you think it's tradition? Is it because you was brainwashed by your grandma? You thought that they'd give you more set asides than the Republicans? Oh, because the Republicans are legitimately racist. The Republicans legitimately do not vie or do anything for the Black vote. I think that they have been trying to put more of an effort since 2020. But then, like, anytime a Black person tried to campaign for conservative politicians, they were made out to be like, "Oh, you're a coon," or "you're turning on," like how they did with there was a couple, like the Blacks for Trump. It's a couple of them, Black women and Black men. Whoever decided to step on a limb and openly say that they would support Trump, they were blacklisted, or they were looked at, demonized, essentially. Even if they had good views, if they were good people, even if they weren't people that would sell out our community. And so I just think we need to ponder on, like, as we talk about, like, oh, we want to gain political sophistication and no vote without tangibles, or we going to vote for the couch and all this nonsense. Yeah, you could vote for the motherfucking couch or whatever in 2024, but how are you setting it up for 2028 and 2032? Like, how are you going to get your own in there? How are you going to get someone, even if they're not your own, regardless of what color they are? How are you going to get somebody that is actually going to take your issue serious? What is your plan? Every year you're going to come out with the same nonsense, or, well, every 4 years rather. Catfish, chicken nuggets, was it catfish, chicken nuggets, collard greens at the church. They'll come to the church and give you a speech, like Biden was just did a speech at one of the Black churches and all that nonsense, and then y'all had some fried chicken afterwards, and go on your way, just like they had the Black guy and President Biden at the cookout, eating cookout at his house, talking about, come on, like that type of social engineer psyop shit, and y'all fall for that. I mean, maybe a lot of you are not. A lot of you realize like, yeah, yeah, not buying it. Okay, so that's good, but it's something we need to really think about. To me, like, how if we gonna vote for the couch in 2024? I'm not voting for no motherfucking couch. I believe in being proactive. I believe in Black Americans being proactive and setting it up, demanding, like, even okay, so say we just got Trump and Biden, right? Okay, we need to demand that Ben Carson is the damn vice president. That's the next best step. And then we need to also put pressure on his ass to run in 2028. It's as simple as that. I'm talking as a strategist now. How old is he? He's still relatively. Oh damn, he's 72. Oh, I thought he was still in his 50s. Um, he'll be alive then. He'll be alive. Shit. So we need even more reason to get him in there as vice president for 2024. But he looks good for his age, don't he? Damn, 72. Don't he look like he in his 50s? Anyways, um, but we need to be thinking like, okay, it's looking like Trump and Biden runoff. It's looking like a Trump and Biden rematch. Let's be real. And now they pussyfooting and throwing anything at the wall. They talk about he got 91 felonies and whatever. But it's like, you know, what are you guys gonna do? Because we got Kamala and Biden, and then you got Trump, and we don't know who yet. But my thing is Trump and Ben Carson. And whoever Republican think tanks or whatever who's listening, whoever might send this off, so whoever, because I do know think tanks do listen to me. Yeah, Ben Carson, he needs to definitely be the damn running mate for the vice president for Trump. That's just a no brainer. And he also needs to support an anti-hate crime bill for Black Americans. Add that to the platinum plan, and he's good. He's good money. And hopefully he runs for president in 2028. And we need to address, obviously, Black American redress in the form of reparations, lineage-based redress from the latent functions of slavery in America that are quantifiable and objective in 2024. Now, again, we don't need to make that a spectacle or have him run solely on that. That's not the point. This is just a part of the agenda of the platinum plan. But broader America, we should have, obviously, a multitude of plans for all of America. And so let's continue to talk about him. So Carson, he gained national fame among political conservatives. He delivered a speech in 2013 at the National Prayer Breakfast, which was perceived really well. That's when he announced that he would be running in 2016 for a Republican nomination for president. And he performed strongly in the polls, leading to the front runner for the nomination during the fall of 2015. And then he withdrew for the race after Super Tuesday following disappointing primary results. And that's when he endorsed Trump. Now, following Trump's victory, Trump nominated Carson as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, being confirmed by the United States Senate in a 58-41 vote on March 2nd, 2017. Okay. And so now, because again, to me, I want to, before we get into like his actual political views of like, well, how does that serve us? Like, how does him being a vice president help Black Americans? We'll talk about that. But I really just want to cover just his social capital in terms of the things he has done in history, the things he has done that is not necessarily political, just outside of politics. We talked earlier about him being a neurosurgeon. So let's talk about some of the honors for that neurosurgery work. So he's got more than 60 honorary doctorates, degrees, and national merit citations. Okay, so he was named by CNN and Time magazine as one of the nation's 20 foremost physicians and scientists. He was selected by the Library of Congress as one of 89 living legends on its 200th anniversary. Okay, so in 2008, Carson was bestowed the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. He was elected in the National Academy of Medicine in 2010. He was the subject of the film that came out in 2009, Gifted Hands, the Ben Carson story. That's where he was portrayed by Cuba Gooding Jr. And Carson has written or co-written 6 best-selling books. And so Ben Carson, he has a pretty stellar resume, just as social capital wise. Like he is America. He is the the typical picture of what a great American will look like someone who walks the walk, talks the talk, got the package. That is what Ben Carson is. And again, like I said, people respect him across the board. Black, white, Asian, Latina. It's nothing you can't really come at this man and try to pick him apart. We ain't never hear no records of him doing no crazy shit. And I hope after this video they don't go and try to find something else, because every time I speak my hecka into this existence, first of all, as a mystic, um, it'll start to churn throughout the universe. And so with me saying I want Ben Carson as Trump's vice president, you will hear Ben Carson's name more in the media after January 27th, 2024. Mark my words. And even though as small as I am, like this is in the public sphere, in the public arena, in the spiritual arena, that's not the case. And so I am pushing that forward with Hecka, Ben Carlson, Trump's running mate for vice president. Okay, so let's talk about his early life and education. Okay, so we got Robert Solomon. That was his father. Carson's parents were Robert Solomon. Let's look at because the genealogy is kind of important, because we want to know, like, okay, well, where did he come from? What's his background? So let's get into that just a little bit. His father was a World War II U.S. Army veteran, and then Sonia Carson is his mother, and they were large families in rural Georgia. How many of you was from Georgia? Let's raise your hand. How many of you got ancestors from Georgia? Even if you're not in Georgia right now, how many of you? So many of us. Like, how many Black Americans? Probably like 80% of y'all got ancestors from Georgia in your genealogy tree. I do. In my biological and adopted side, all my family come from Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina. That's it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's pretty much where we all come from. And so a lot of them in Georgia though. So we can relate to him obviously from those roots, from that Georgia roots. Carson parents, they met and married. They were living in rural Tennessee when his mother was 13 and his father was 20. Let's just skim over that. Let's just skip over that. Okay, so after Robert's completion of military service, they moved from Chattanooga, Tennessee to Detroit, Michigan. How many of you Black Americans moved to Detroit, Michigan? How many of y'all moved to the North? Many of you, where they lived in a large house in the Indian Village neighborhood. This just sounds too much like our story. I just know so many of us can relate to this. I personally can relate to this. I don't have necessarily some of my adopted families in Detroit, so I'm not like from Detroit or anything, but we moved to New York. But we all have friends, we all know family, we all know people that came from the South that moved to Detroit. We all know that. That's just a typical Black American story. Can't get more Black American than that. Living in Indian Village neighborhood. Really. Carson's father is a Baptist minister. He worked in the Cadillac automobile plant. How many of you got family members as Black Americans that worked in the automobile plant? How many? I do. I have multiple family members. Again, when we moved from the South, when we migrated from the South, when we migrated to the North, a lot of our families was working in the automobile plants. That's the only reason why we went up there. And so his story is literally our story. Just we're going to get into the politics, but just like we all can relate to that. And maybe there's white people that can relate to that. But I know from the Great Migration aspect of it, as Black Americans, we could totally relate to our elders going to the North for them automobile plants or steel plants. Sometimes it wasn't an automobile plant. Okay, so his family purchased a 733 square foot single family home, detached home on Deacon Street from Southwest Detroit, and that's where he was born. So he attended public schools. His mother was a 7-day Adventist. So they began working. Let's see, this looks like the mother, Carson's mother attempted. So it probably was they was doing that stuff with her. Had several psychiatric hospitals. The same thing that happened with Malcolm X's mother, because a lot of times when they got your genealogy and if you got any connections to like military or not just military, but like say like with Malcolm X's case, his father was involved with like the Garveyites and stuff. They attacked the mothers. the powers that they'll go after mothers, especially if the genealogy shows that you could potentially bear very powerful genes and bloodline. The goal is to, and I noticed I've seen this so many times. That's why I'm speaking from experience. I study Black Americans and I study our story, and most I'm noticing the pattern with the mothers like attempting suicide and having to get psychiatric care. If you study like a lot of the parents of Black America, of prominent Black Americans, you'll see that the attacks on the mother, just like they started to attack Shabazz, his wife, Malcolm X's wife. You'll see that. They do it's systematic and it goes over people's head because it looks like one-off incidents. But for me, as a sociologist, I have been studying this time again, and so I'm seeing a pattern. And I hope maybe one day somebody else would see that pattern as well. But anyways, that was a tangent. Let's get back to what I was saying. Let's see. He moved with his mother and back and forth to the house on Deacon. Okay, so he attended prominently Black Hunter Junior High School for the second half of 8th grade. I don't want to get into much fluff or filler necessarily. Okay, so high school, you know, they had government assistance. They were on food stamps and whatnot, and he graduated third in his class academically for high school for grades 9 through 12. So that's great. After that, let's see, he participated in band and he participated in a chess club and in the U.S. Army Junior Reserve Officer Training Course. I did JROTC. I did, where he reached his highest rank, cadet colonel. You know what? I feel like, and I'm not going to get on a tangent, guys. Bear with me, but we all know about JROTC at Hutchinson Technical School of Excellence. They required it for freshmen. When I entered in, they made it mandatory. And what you didn't have an option to choose, because usually at Hutch Tech for freshmen, they will either make you, it was mandatory that you took swimming your freshman year. It was kind of like a hazing, or you did JROTC. And a lot of people choose to stay in it. I did JROTC, and I was really into it. Like, I really liked it. But I feel like because I saw high school as a fashion show, I didn't take anything serious. I studied computer engineering at Hutch Tech, studied JROTC, and didn't just take shit serious. And I really like wanted to, like, my subconscious mind, or rather my conscious mind, wanted to take JROTC. Like I just wanted. I remember wanting to be cadet colonel. So I find it like so interesting. So I guess I just didn't have the discipline. And so I admire Carson for actually reaching its highest rank, because JROTC was annoying. You had to get up early as fuck, for one. You had to do weekend trainings. We talk about in high school. You had to do weekend trainings. You couldn't wear your hair a certain way. We all know that. You wear that uniform, you can't. You got to have the bun. You got to have your hair off the damn collar of the other. You can't. And to me that was kind of restrictive. And so even though I wanted it to work out, I thought it was so cool. I was like, I'm not getting up on no weekends to go do no JROTC gun training, the training that we had to do. I'm not getting up earlier on the weekdays to go to the training, and stay after school for the trainings. And then, the limitations on dress. Like, I really saw high school as a fashion show, and I didn't have all the name brands, but I was fly. I was very creative, very, very creative in high school with clothing. I used to literally design, like, I'll take the Nike ones and like completely do something different. I used to cut out certain, and people really thought there was real Nike ones. I used to cut out like literally magazine patterns that I thought was so fucking dope. Buy an outfit that matched the magazine pattern, put it on the damn Nike ones, wear all different types of cool stuff. Very eccentric. I was very, very eccentric. And people would stop and say, "Where'd you get that Nike ones from there?" And they would look and say, and take your shoes, like, take your shoes off. Let me see that shit. And I glued that on there. I glued it on there, and they was just like, "Get the fuck out of here! You glued that on." So I just wasn't one of them disciplined kids. And that's what I was saying earlier. Ben Carson is pragmatic. He's analytical. He's logical. Very, he's stoic. And that's why I'm saying he doesn't have this mystic rock star, this uber creative, spontaneous spunk energy, and he doesn't need that. And I admire that about him. I admire that structured element about him. Like, you think I'm structured, right? We walk around here thinking we're so structured. No, He's structured because he's a neurosurgeon and he's meticulous. So he's meticulous and he's structured. And so, and just his high school, just his high school career alone shows that, going up to the highest rank of cadet colonel and JROTC. So that's pretty cool. And a lot of times I think we get ushered into things. I'm telling you, because my dad was in the army, and I really feel like, unbeknownst to us as kids or as teenagers, I really think that we get funneled on to like this simulated this simulated holographic universe. And I want to get all into like the woo woo wah, because I want to keep this very like intellectual. Well, not even so much because mysticism is intellectual, but I want to keep this more analytical based. I'll say that. And so sometimes I'd be thinking, I'm like, do we get filtered off into stuff? And sometimes I feel like that when when I just study things from the outside looking in. But anyways, he worked as a biology laboratory assistant at Wayne State University. And in his book Gifted Hands, Carson relates that as a youth he had a violent temper. Ooh, who would have known that? He said he would go after people with rocks and bricks and baseball bats and hammers. He told NBC Meet the Press. He said he tried once to hit his mother on the head with a hammer over a clothing dispute. While in the ninth grade, he tried to stab a friend who had changed his radio station. Fortunately, the blade broke in his friend's belt buckle. Carson said the intended victim, whose identity he wants to protect, was a classmate. Wow. After this, Carson said he began reading the book of Proverbs and applying verses on anger. So he worked on his anger management. Through reading the book of Proverbs, the book of wisdom by Solomon. And his middle name is Solomon, so go figures. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I feel like we get filtered off into like a simulated program. I really do. As a result, he states he never had another problem with temper. I believe it. There's a lot of wisdom in that book. I think you could totally control your temper from reading verses from the book of Proverbs. I don't doubt that. Let's see. In his various book and campaign event. Let's see. I don't want to go through reading this whole thing if it's not relevant to what I want to say. Okay, so Carson said that he protected the white students in a biology lab after a race riot broke out at his high school in response to the assassination of Martin Luther King. The Wall Street Journal confirmed the riot, but cannot find anyone who remembered Carson sheltering white students. He probably made that shit up. Who knows? Carlson's SAT college admission test ranks from somewhere in the low 90th percentile. Okay, whatever. Let's see. He wanted to. Let me just go to where he went to. So he narrowed his college choices to Harvard or Yale, but could only afford the $10 application fee to apply for only one of them. And so he decided to apply to Yale after seeing a team from Yale defeat a team from Harvard on the College Bowl television show. So Carson did get accepted into Yale. He was offered a full scholarship covering his tuition, his room, and his board. And they were doing good back in those days. They don't do that shit no more. They'll accept you, but they not offering no full scholarship. And so Carson graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology from Yale with a respectable grade point average. Okay, and so let's keep going. So he was also offered a scholarship to West Point. I believe that's a military school, right? I don't know. Okay, so they say you receive a free education and room and board in exchange for a commitment to serve in the military for at least 5 years after graduation. So that's their criteria. And then they say Carson also said the University of Michigan had offered him a scholarship. Let's see, he never actually applied to entry to. I don't know what that's about, but for one, Wikipedia, they can add anything, and they do try to play Black Americans on Wikipedia. So this probably is not even the best biography to even go over. To be honest, it's probably not the best one for us to look at, to dissect, because anybody can contribute to Wikipedia, and oftentimes they will. If it's a prominent Black American or even a political Black American or a controversial, polarizing Black American figure that's public, they will add little shit in there to downplay your brilliance, like Sheila Washington, the inventor like of fiber optic cable and voicemail call forward and all that shit from MIT. They try to play the shit out of her on her Wikipedia page, and we know she's a genius. And they do this all the time to Black Americans. So we shouldn't put too much stock in this, but the things that we can objectively verify via other citations, we could look at that as well. And so, obviously, he went to medical school at the University of Michigan Medical School in 1973. He was elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. Let's see. Da, 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 da. And then that's where he was accepted into the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine Neurosurgery program. Let's see. Okay, so he had his stellar medical careers. We know that. We all know that. And then I just don't want to like labor you with all of these minute details, because that takes away from like the point of my video. What I really wanted to do is for you to guys to get an understanding of Ben Carson's resume, his social capital outside of politics. And so I think we've got that covered. Announcement of campaign. I just want to look through decline in the polls, further activities during the 20. Okay, just let me just go down just a little bit more just to make sure I'm not missing anything. So there's a Carson Scholars Fund. So it looks like him and his wife started the Carson Scholars Fund, which awards scholarships to students in grades 4 through 11 for academic excellence and in humanitarian qualities. So, okay, so we see that. That looks cool. American Cornerstone Institute. That is, oh, wow, look at this. Carson founded the American Cornerstone Institute, a conservative think tank centered around advancing policies that promote faith, liberty, community, and life. So their mission statement is dedicated to promoting and preserving individual and religious liberty, helping our country's most vulnerable find new hope. Who's the country's most vulnerable? Black Americans. And developing methods to decrease the federal government's role in society and to improve efficiency to best serve all our nation's citizens. We know that Big Brother is already all over the place. To decrease the federal government's role in society. I don't see anything wrong with that. Headed by, and yeah, so there we go. That's headed by Ben Carson. And so to me, that American Cornerstone Institute is a conservative think tank. My thing is that they talk about they want to help the country's most vulnerable. That's definitely Black Americans. And then he's saying he wants to improve efficiency to best serve all of our nation's citizens. Okay, that's fine too. We need more though. We need to understand more about the American Cornerstone Institute in terms of its policies. Maybe we should go to the website and actually look at that. Let's see if they got a website, because that's something we need. If we talking about potentially, if he becomes the vice president, we need to know what we getting into as Black Americans, because we can't just fall for someone just because they Black again. But at the same time, I think that we can get more of a headway. We could put more pressure on our own. Somebody that comes from Georgia, went through the Great Migration, went through issues out of him attacking his mother when she having psychological issues, them attack him having to be on welfare and food stamps, him eventually going into school, graduate school, him graduating JROTC in high school. Like, these are things that we all can relate to. I know, like, this is all of my friends. We all did JROTC in high school. Like, we all come from Georgia. We all migrated from the north and all this stuff. These are just niggas in Buffalo, not to mention all of Black America. And so, like, for us to act like we don't have nothing in common with Ben Carson, or he's not one of our own, and he's a sellout for us. I don't like the way some of our people treat him. And he is respected amongst our people. Don't let me make that clear. He is definitely respected. Like, we still love Ben Carson. But it's like, sometimes I feel like we were harsh on him in 2016 just because, like, he supported Trump. And I feel like that was erroneous. And that was a mistake on our part. I never went with that. I didn't know much about politics to really have an opinion in 2016. I still don't know much now. But I do know in 2016, I kind of was just like I didn't agree how the way Chrisette Michelle was treated, because she sung at the was it the inauguration of Trump, whatever she did her little performance, and they paid her $700,000 to sing that. Trump paid, his team paid that lady $700,000 to sing a couple of songs at his inauguration, and the black community had her neck. She did. I mean, literally tore her whole career to shreds. Made the lady suicidal. Y'all was wrong for that. If I was Chrisette Michelle, y'all wouldn't hear the end of it. I swear I'll get on YouTube every day if I was Chrisette Michelle dragging y'all for that shit, because y'all was wrong on that. I never agreed with her treating her that way. I didn't agree with treating Kanye West that way. The black voices for Trump, the black men for Trump, I didn't agree with treating them that way, making it seem like anybody black who support conservative views or support Trump or whoever they support. I don't care if it was whoever, because a lot of black people voted for Kanye West. Like anybody that try to attack our people for having a multifaceted perspective on politics or doing things for whatever reason they want to do it, for whatever reason. We don't have to all act on one accord. Like why we can't respect somebody's perspective and not feel like we gotta drag them and crucify them. And for me, I never agreed with going after our people like that because they were conservatives. I felt it was foolish. And so with Ben Carson, in 2016, granted, a lot of us didn't know much about him, but I still heard black people coming at his neck like, oh, why is he endorsing Trump or da da da, and I didn't agree with that. So let's look at some of his personal life stuff. So he has a wife. She's from Detroit. Her name is Lucina Candy Rustin. Candy. We all know a Candy, right? And so she's an American author and businesswoman. Okay, and she's also she's a retired neural. No. I'm reading it. Okay, trying to figure out what she do. So she probably co-offers stuff, and we can look at her too, because I know if he becomes the vice president, the running mate of Trump, y'all gonna go through these people's lives with a fine tooth comb. So we might as well already cover it. And so, the oldest son was born in Australia. Okay, in 2001, Ben and Candy bought a 48-acre property in Upper Cove, Maryland. Okay. So it looks like, okay, so Carson is also a cancer survivor. Okay, and that was in 2002. Let's see. In 2013, they moved to West Palm Beach, Florida. Okay. And now they're in Virginia, looks like. I'm not sure. Whatever. Okay, and so religion. So Carson and his wife are members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay. I don't know much about Seventh Day. I grew up Baptist and then Pentecostal, so I have to say I don't know much about Seventh Day Adventists. I know that they're denomination under Christianity, I'm sure, but for me personally, I grew up Baptist and Pentecostal, but I also heard of other. Like a lot of my friends, I remember they would tell me all the time that they were a 7-day Adventist. They would say it like in passing. I didn't ask them much about it. I just so still know what it's about. What it is. Okay, so I guess he's a vegetarian. Let's see. So he's a part-time vegetarian. It looks like he's eat milk, eggs, and cheese, but also on occasion he eats some chicken. Okay, and so that's what he does. I'm just reading it. Okay, and in 2014, he claims that he occasionally enjoys a nice steak or a hamburger at a town hall meeting in Iowa. So he just sparingly, I guess, decides, like when he's gonna eat meat, I guess. But anyways, that's his. So let's actually look at the American Cornerstone Institute, because that's important. And so this was built to champion conservative solutions to our nation's toughest challenges. Let's actually look at that mission statement, because now we're actually on the website, so we don't have to like be at the whim of Wikipedia and like certain misinformation or certain things that they would say that's not necessarily true. So it says faith, liberty, community, and life. Okay, so guided by our cornerstones of faith, liberty, community, and life, we will strengthen the bonds that hold our country together by promoting conservative, common sense solutions to the issues facing our society. These four cornerstones lay the foundation for the greatest nation the world has ever seen. The promotion and preservation can secure the United States of America as a beacon of hope and freedom for generations to come. So they do education, outreach, and collaboration. Now is the time to stand firmly in support of America's founding principles and pursue common sense solutions that challenge conventional groupthink. I support that. We with independent research, grassroots outreach, in collaboration with state and local entities, faith-based groups, and private organizations, ACI will work to heal the divisiveness that plagues our nation's politics. Okay. Common Sense Podcast. I guess they got a podcast. Americans are not stupid. I actually want to. I mean, let's see what kind of programs they got. Let me see. Common Sense Solution Papers, Cornerstone Conversations Coalition Letters, Executive Branch for America. I'm trying to see if there's anything. What's this? Mm-mm-mm. So it says, learn from the experts everything you need to know to work in the executive branch. Get enrolled. So I guess this is like some sort of course, the ultimate course designed for getting started. And so Black Americans, you might want to take advantage of this today, even if you don't want to, even if you don't like Ben Carson in particular or whatever. You feel like maybe you don't agree that he should be the vice president for Trump. Maybe you don't agree with that, but you still want to run it. You still are talking about like, oh, we need our reparations. We need grassroots to get in here. Da, da, da. This could be the first step for one of you. For one of you, because I don't have a background in politics. I have the interest of one day in getting involved, perhaps, and I'm waiting for some shifts to take place. I know that there's going to be certain shifts that take place in American society and American lexicon, and so I'm waiting to make that quantum leap once it happens. But right now we're still in the residue of an age that's dying out in terms of governance, and so once the golden age is born, and that's going to trickle down into the way it affects politics and the way we do politics. I'm waiting for that still to take place, because I know it's coming, and it would make it a little easier for people like me once that age has come. We're not quite there yet. It's still locking out the best and brightest. America still does that, unfortunately, not at all times, but for those of us that's really renegade, that's really like we too unpredictable, we can't be controlled. We still suffer because of that. But there's going to be a time very soon where it is raw merit that counts for something. Your raw credit, your raw merit. I'm not talking about credit, I'm not talking about like financial credit. I'm talking about like your raw gifts, what you bring to the actual table, and not getting locked out due to whether that be race or whether that be gender, whether that be anything. It's going to just count your gifts and talent. Let's go for anybody that's listening that may feel like they kind of been locked out, blacklisted, blackballed, whatever, but they're genius, and you know you're genius, you know you're creative, you know you're very talented. The day will come where that we won't get penalized for that genius in the future. Like we won't get penalized because we won't acquiesce to ridiculous. I'll say this: we won't fold. I'll say that when we stand for truth, we'll stand for justice. We believe in being for the people. When we say well, we stand for love, like we stand for real shit, like we real niggas, pretty much. And again, this is just not based on any particular gender or race. We just know that we real people that want to see changes, positive changes for all of humanity, positive changes for our communities. Like those of us that really want that, we're gonna have that. Like it's gonna be so easier for us in the future. It's not always gonna be this way where we feel like we going against a behemoth where every little thing we do is sabotage, every little thing we do is we're targeted, or there's all this nonsense that could come our way that we have to deal with because of simply being gifted, of simply being um, unwavering in beliefs to uh, have greater freedom, equity, uh, justice, truth, innovation, intelligence. Like we want these things, and so there's going to be a place, a time and place where we're able to manifest those things into fruition and share those gifts with the world. But back to what I was saying, for those of you Black Americans, that that want to eventually run for president, Executive Branch for America course, this is something you want to take advantage of. Enroll today. That's what it says. This was created to educate and provide a deeper understanding of the vast and winding maze of the executive branch of the United States government. And so it outlines functions, processes, and laws governing agencies to enable a private citizen to navigate and succeed in public service. Honestly, I ain't gonna hold you. I might take this shit because I don't know shit about navigating succeeding in public service. I know that I have obviously ethics and integrity. I know that I like to write out for the people, and I like things that speaks to great intellect, great invention, great innovation, great prosperity for all. Justice and righteousness is the habitation of my throne. Mercy and truth go before you and before my face. Blessed be the people. Like this is something I read every day and believe in. That's Psalms 89:14. Justice and righteousness is the habitation of my throne. Mercy and truth go before my face. That's what I believe in. That's what I was taught my whole life, and that's what I believe in. I don't care what other thing you heard about me, what other thing you think you know about me, whatever you've been told, smear campaign, discrediting campaign, whatever you believe, just know that from my motherfucking mouth, that's what I believe. Justice and righteousness is the habitation of my throne. Mercy and truth go before my face. Truth. And so I might enroll in this shit. Executive branch for Black America. I mean, for executive branch. You can tell where my mind is at. It's called Executive Branch for America. My mind be executive branch for Black America. That's what we need. And so this would be cool. This was something for us to get involved with. Like stop sneering your nose at our people. They got things for us out here. We want to take advantage. I'm actually gonna save this in my in my bookmarks, and I'm gonna take a look at this after we do this video. I'm going to take a look at this. And let's see. It says, learn from those that have been there. EBA is a web-based training and self-certification education series. A special feature includes interviews from former administration officials who lead key executive branch offices, including Domestic Policy Council, Office of Management and Budget, Cabinet Secretaries, Office of Public Liaison, and more. So, Black Americans, this is what you need to be getting into. Meet some of our incredible teachers. Okay, I don't know who these people are. But anyways, it's something to think about. Even if you don't agree, again, it's like getting your training for what you really want. If we always talk about like we want policies and tangibles just for our people based on what we went through and all these things. We got to get there. We got to get into the local offices. We got to get into the political arenas in all facets. Senate seats, Congress seats, city council, alderman, whatever it is, president, and if not, directors of whole ass administrations, personnel and management, housing, just like how he was the director of the not director, secretary of the housing and urban development, like that kind of shit. We still got to get into these positions. Like, how are we going to get there? What's our plan for 2028, 2032, 2025, 2026? Like, and you got to demand that of y'all. Love to follow these pro-black people that claim that they reparations and all this stuff. Where's they structured out as planned? They don't really have a plan. They just be talking and asking you for buy shit. But y'all where's the think tank? Where's our fucking think tank? And y'all sitting like everything is a competition with niggas. So y'all like to sit and steal ideas and steal stuff and then act like y'all, instead of just going to the person that got all the gifts and I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about it's so many Black Americans this happens to us. I've seen it in real time. Instead of just going to the motherfucker that got the talent, that got the analytical mind, that got the strategy, they got the military strategy, they got all this stuff. Y'all just rather try to steal and then still botch it because you don't have the knowledge to come up with the stuff yourself. And I've seen this happen all the time, especially in reparations movement. I've seen this happen to so many Black Americans. That was grassroots that don't have like polar connections. I see they shit get lifted all up, stolen, when it should have been them that should have most likely been leading the movement or had more say or been brought to the table. But because this nasty spirit of competition and jealousy of one another, crab in a barrel mentality still. People, and I know what one thing when you start telling the truth about our people, our people start to get real quiet, upset, knee jerk reaction to defend it, say that it's not true, or they just get real quiet because they know it's true, and they get upset though. They start getting passive aggressive towards you. So I already know I'm expecting. I've been dealing with that too from our people because I'll be speaking the truth about everybody, including ourselves. That doesn't mean I don't love our people. It doesn't mean I don't love my community. If I didn't love my community, I wouldn't do half the shit or be putting up with half the shit that I put up with. However, I'm a truth speaker, and I'm gonna call out the nonsense. I've been embedded around my people for my whole life, but really, really in depth with that, with the activist work, and I took some heavy, heavy hits for that. And so, it is what it is. I don't want to get into that. Let's continue. So let's go back here. Um, that's something to think about as far as that little course he got. Not little, but that course he has. So let's look at Little Patriots. Let's see what Little Patriots is. What's that? So it looks like Little Patriots is equality for women. Episode 17. Latest course is equality for women. We all like that. I don't see why black women not jumping on that because y'all love talking about equality for women. So where you got at? Ruby Bridges in the civil rights movement. Jackie Robinson in the integration of baseball. And so from what I'm looking at, I don't see anything suspicious. Oh, this is for kids. Why America matters. Red, white, and blue. Freedom of bark. Oh, freedom of bark. I guess that goes stands for like freedom of speech. And so I feel like we should be like, what's wrong with this Black Americans? I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to, me myself. I'm trying to see like why I don't get it. Like why didn't we kind of support him a little bit more in 2016? And maybe somebody knows stuff that I don't know. But me, I can be one to just jump on, and I don't just jump on things necessarily, but if I see myself in you, if I find familiarities, commonplace, just common happy mediums, or I support, um, we have similar viewpoints, similar interests, similar goals, or even if I just respect your body of work, then I would ride out for that person. Like I respect his body of work, and so I don't remember hearing anything that was just too crazy. That just sounded like, oh my gosh, we can't support it. And like you'll hear stuff like about Herman Cain or other people, but no, like I haven't heard anything outrageous about Ben Carson. So I don't understand why, you know, when he was ran for president in 2016, why didn't we encourage him to run for for, for president? Well, he couldn't do it in 2020, but I don't even think in 2024, but like 2028, or like, or why we not encourage him to campaign for that running mate position for vice president, to line him up for a presidential run in 2028. I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, let's see what's common sense solution papers. What's this? The dangers of political prosecutions. That's very true. A lot of we got political prisoners to this day. For the Republican presidential nomination in favor of the general election, Poe is facing indictment under 91 different counts. Okay. Federalism, the problem with California's minimum wage increase. Speaker might, okay. I don't know what all this stuff is about. This is dry. This is too dry. Energy independence. Okay, that sounds good. Good. Um, living constitutionalism. This is cool. Another theory of constitutional interpretation and living in constitutional, sometimes called pragmatism. Didn't I just say he was a pragmatic? I said, something tell me he believed in pragmatism. Yeah, so I was right on that. It's often described as a mere progressive method of constitutional interpretation. The primary aim of this method is to assure the ruling always favor. That's actually, I'm curious about that. I actually just want to read that just from my own curiosity. Sorry, guys, if that's too dry and boring. Let's see. The primary aim of this method is to ensure the ruling always favor the moral choice and do what is best for society, regardless of the actual document itself, it says. In this method, adherents would typically look for vague provisions within the Constitution that can be used as a stepping off point to infer further protections for state powers. Let's see. Principle, I love my word function. I'm just like speed reading right now. So, in this case, our arbitrary rules coming not from our scripture there. So, mm-hmm. Harbor. Mm, it's something I would need to research a little bit more. But living constitutionalism, I mean, who knows? Maybe that's something that we as Black Americans support. Maybe it's not. I can't speak on that right now. So now I actually want to get into some of his views, but I think he would be great as a running mate. Me personally, Brexit alliance seeking to shatter chemically induced abortions and FDA regulations. So I guess this is just like, is this like the blog? What I guess so. I think this is like more of like a blog, perhaps. I'm not sure. As far as a part of the American Cornerstone Institute, I remember that's a think tank. So I got some paper. Oh, these were like papers and stuff. That's what it was. They were like papers. I guess that was written. That's interesting. It's probably gets half, 2.5. Cite the Hyde Amendment. Just these are papers that's written for the think tank. Why community is important, why life is important, why faith is important, why liberty is important. And so I have to look through because I have to say this is interesting. This is interesting stuff. More perfect union project. What is this? More perfect union project. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all that. And so this is governmental, like where I'm not going to act like it's not. And internships, American Cornerstone internship opportunity. This is cool. So this is something maybe you as Black Americans also want to look into the internship. Okay. I think you have to take that course though. They got a press intern. This is for someone that's wants to assist with a communications team, and then they got development intern to gain experience in project research, project management, donor management. And so, Black Americans, this is something that you want to look into as well. And so, this is something that our own has started. And I think that's dope. I do. I haven't seen anything that looks suspicious. I mean, to me, it's a lot of politics, and to me, it's a little dry for my mind. Again, he's into pragmatism. I'm not going. He's very pragmatic. A very you get that energy of the more logic based. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, it's just like okay, me coming from that divine, that Shakti energy is like, I feel it feels so structured, and I'm very structured for a woman. I'm very structured, but it's still like, where's the with me, I'm imaginative, very creative, so I'm like, oh, this doesn't quite appeal to me, but I like it. I like it. I do. I like it. So let's look at this. I want to talk about his actual views. Let me just scroll off some of this stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the 2016 presidential campaign. And so we talked earlier about the National Prayer Breakfast, and he commented on political correctness, saying that it was dangerous because it goes against the freedom of expression, education, healthcare, and taxation. Many of you Black Americans were just on Twitter Space saying this shit a couple months ago, like literally the same exact. I wish I had recorded it because I wish I could play. I'm talking about grassroots, random, actual people from the hood, literally on Twitter Spaces talking, saying the same thing. But you don't need the political correctness. It's dangerous. It goes against our freedom of expression. It goes against. So Ben Carson just has said that in the speech of 2016. And I'm telling you, in 2024, I hear Black Americans saying the same thing from all walks of life, mainly grassroots. And so I'm not saying Ben Carson is grassroots. I'm saying he shares our story and he rolls it up in the ranks as a prominent black leader, or a prominent leader in general. And if he's going, if he now that he's in politics, and now that he's expressed interest, he was the secretary of HUD and overseer of the healthcare Affordable Care Act and all these things, and he has a potential to be the running mate. I think we should put pressure on that. We share a lot of the similar views, regardless. Like, don't let people, and that's the thing. Like, I wish he would have had who he is perfect, right? And it's like, you know, sometimes I feel like our people don't do a good job of maintaining that base, a grassroots base. And I think that sometimes that's where uh we go wrong as we move up in the ranks, as Black Americans, is we don't maintain that outreach with the grassroots, from all walks of life, of all stratifications, of also socioeconomic statuses. I think that's very, very important to always do that. Now, Ben Carson is, I'll have to say, is more of a rare example of where he still has the respect of the grassroots. Like, we may not know who he is or follow him or be all into his stuff, but when you hear the name, like, there's respect in Black American society, and that's important. That's very important, and um, a lot of us low key agree with his conservative views, But like Pavlov's dog, for whatever fucking reason, wants the Democrats to come wagging their fingers at us for daring to express opinion or thought outside of the DNC machine. They come wagging their fingers or trying to uh, drag some chicken catfish nuggets down our throat and hush puppy down our throat with mac and cheese puffs down our throats to get us to vote Democrat, to get us to vote for Biden. Or they tell us, or as Biden would say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That kind of nonsense. That kind of nonsense. It's nonsense, And for whatever reason, I don't know why. Because I can't even say we, because I don't take that disrespect back. I'm going to say we because it's my community, right? But I don't know why we take that kind of disrespect. I don't understand. Take your booty to the poll and shaking ass and go vote and all this stuff. Vote or die, P. Diddy and all that. Come on, like, why we ain't demand, like, now you just now waking up and now realizing your ass need reparations and tangibles and no vote. Now you're talking about you're gonna go vote for the couch. You can't vote for no motherfucking couch. You can make a plan. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do sit out 2024. But your ass better have a plan for 2028, for 2032, of how you're going to get your own in there. How are you going to get your reparations besides throwing rallies, or besides, um, you know, having these going on a show, a YouTube show, or it has to be more. That goes for me. That goes for all of us. That goes for me especially. Like, we're gonna have to run for local office. Like, we're gonna have to try to really get in there. That goes for me. Like, I was saying, I wanted to run for a local position. I'm still studying that. Like, I did take out some time every day where I was like, let me study, how do you get into public office? Like, what's the process? I don't fucking know no process. So I had to go and look, and I still kind of feel it's intimidating to me, like, that whole thing. And then with me, I don't want nobody trying to wave something in front of me. I have to keep my authenticity, and that has to be respected. Like, the government has to respect that about me, and about us as Black Americans, as we decide to get involved in that. Like, we not about to have y'all trying to get us in. Like, nah, we ain't finagling nothing. Like, when we say these are the things we stand for, these are the policies we like. This is what we want. And when we say that, yes, we understand the Constitution, and we understand, uh, you know, how to run. We understand the basics of government, right? But we don't. I don't want nobody trying to control me, or trying to, okay, bribe, you do this, we do that. I can't have that. It got to be a clean. To me, that clean energy. I don't want no disgusting, nasty sellout energy around me. And so that's something that I have to work around. Can it even be worked around? Can it be? They say all politicians are liars. Politicians got real bad names, real bad, reputations and shit. And so it's like, is that even the way that we go as Black Americans? Like, do we go that route? With me, is like, I know that I've been primed for governance. You know, I'm not going to get into like the actual esoteric aspects of it, of social engineering that I experienced since the age of 5. But like, I know for a fact that I was born for governance. But in terms of like, okay, I run for government and then they trying to control me, or, get me to sell my people out. I can't go for that. I can't. I can't go for that. And so then now they feel like they gotta throw the hammer down on me. That's just like when they I'm not gonna get into that. But anyways, that's just something that we gotta think about as Black Americans. Like, as we get into like politics and to any of that stuff, is like we have to think about like, how do we maintain our independence and all of that? Can you? And if not, then we gotta split. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with altering my aspirations, because one way or the other, whether it's an ideal parallel fucking universe or it's a whole, like with me, Black Americans, I'm about to say something that can be done from a theoretical physicist point of view. They're not gonna say that it sounds crazy, but for the average person that don't know what I'm talking about, they're gonna think like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? We can split. We can actually tear a hole in this universe, in time and space, through quantum entanglement, and actually merge an ideal parallel universe with this one, and alter time, alter time dilation, alter reality through that, and get what we want. That's the type of shit that I'm about to be on if I don't see changes within this system, or the way that me personally I have been treated in terms of dealing with whistleblower retaliation. And many of us are dealing with that. Millions of Americans, by the way. And really, whistleblower retaliation goes beyond just someone that is whistleblowing. It could be just as simple as them being a political activist, uh, being extremely, extremely, extremely intelligent and unpredictable and not controlled. Those type of people. I'm at the point where I'm like, we need to split. We need to create a vortex in a black hole in the universe, and tear the frame out of. And I've been studying how to do it. Actually, it's not nothing you need to study. It's just something of, remember, the universe is mental. That's what you need to remember, Black American. So if there's a Black American that's listening to me, that's mystical, that's spiritual, me saying that, even though what I use scientific terms, me saying it, you know what I'm talking about, and you know intuitively, like, okay, I know what she's talking about. I know what she's talking about. Then that's the type of time that we need to be on. Now that's a very advanced level, but that's the type of time that Black Americans need to be on. Y'all talking about y'all want all these changes, and we need to do all this, and we need these reparations, and we need, like, it's gonna take more than just marching. I'm gonna tell you that it's gonna take more than just voting. It's gonna take more than not voting. It's gonna take more than just running for local office, for running from Congress. It's gonna take, man. You're gonna have to have some hecka. You're gonna have to have some resonance. You're gonna have to have some electromagnetism. All the things I've been talking about for years. All the stuff I wrote books about when I talk about electromagnetism and everything. When I'm be talking about these things, is for a reason, because I'm telling you, yes, we want to this dry political politics stuff, pragmatism, and that's all cool and all, but the things that we dealing with, you gonna need some prana. That's all I can say. You gonna need some hard prana to push our agenda, to push what we want to happen in a way that's fair, in a way that's balanced, in a way that's truthful, equitable, and justice. Like, not, I'm tired of the things that I've been seeing. You know, it hasn't had any spirit behind it. It hasn't had any truth within it. And so this system hates truth. You know, it's like it hates, to be honest, righteousness. It's weird. It's a real weird system. And so as Black Americans, that's something that we need to We got to work around that. We got to work around that whole apparatus. Can we do it? Yeah, we gonna tear a hole, and it's already torn, by the way. It's just not big enough. We're trying to make it bigger. We need to tear a hole into space time of this universe through quantum entanglement and through a fusion of photon power from Black Americans or whoever that wants a just system, and tear that hole wide open and merge this current reality with a higher consciousness reality, with a higher order reality based on uh you guys can call it fifth dimensional consciousness. I think we should go way higher than that. We could start there, but it's already here. That manifestation is already here based on our ancestors pushing that time dilation and splitting that time space universe already. They did that for 5D. So I'm saying for 2024, for us that's already in 5D, like we have to push it for the next for 12D, 20D. We have to push it and to start to see that manifestation come, whether that be 10, 20 years from now, uh, even longer. We have to start somewhere. But nonetheless, let's get into some of his views. Drafted Carson committee and fundraising. Uh, let's see. I wanted to kind of cover that speech. Okay, so let's see what this is. He espoused the idea of tax exempt health of savings account created at birth. It can be bequeathed at death, along with electronic medical record and birth certificate. He supports a flat tax, which he calls proportional tax in reference to the biblical tithe. Okay. I guess it doesn't sound too. You're not going to agree with everything on everyone, with everything everyone says, but let's go polling. I'm not interested in that. I actually want to look at some other views. Okay, so this is. I guess he started his presidential campaign in 2015. I'm just scrolling through this. Okay, so he got some good debate skills, from what I would say. He placed fifth in the overall list of top 10 candidates. They liked that debate he did. There was a debate. Let me get that. Let me get the. Okay, let's see. Okay, so he was the second highest performing candidate in the question of who won the debate. Okay. And they said in that second debate it was overall well received. I don't think interesting. I just really wanted to get to like the views, to be honest. Okay, so let's hear some political and related positions. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I think is most important. And so, abortion in human fetal tissue. So he's described himself as pro-life, and he said, um, you know, he didn't. Let's see. Comparing who had abortions to historical slave. That's kind of obnoxious, but he doesn't. He said the number one cause of death for Black people is abortion, and so a lot of Black Americans, to be honest, they don't like abortion. Um, that's a part of the conservatism of Black America that for whatever reason we act like we're not. But a lot of Black Americans do not. That they are pro life. They are pro life, and here it says. There was an undercover video recorded by anti-abortion group show Planned Parenthood officials discussing the donation of tissue from aborted fetuses for medical research. Okay. So obviously he's pro-life, and so that's something that we would have to think about. Like a lot of Black Americans are pro-life, so I don't see an issue with that. Climate change. He rejects the scientific consensus that human activity causes climate change. After cooling and warming going on, but we know about HARP and all that shit. We know they be controlling the weather. They can. So that ain't nothing new. Economic issues, budget and social security. So he blames the Washington politicians for the national debt and supports a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. So it also says, I don't think we should think about. So let's see. So we got taxation, citizens for tax justice. I'm just looking at this to see what this is. Hmm. Minimum wage and employment. And he said the federal minimum wage of $7.25 should possibly or probably be higher. He supported a two-tier minimum wage system with a lower starting minimum wage for young workers. He also supported indexing the minimum wage to inflation so that we never have to have this conversation again in the history. Indexing the minimum wage to inflation, I would like more elaboration on that as a Republican primary debate. Carson argued against increasing the minimum wage. Why? And that's the thing. Like they have to be for the people. Like we know good and hell well 7.25 as minimum wage to live off of is absurd in 2024. There is nobody that can survive off of that. And do you know the minimum wage in certain states is still $7, and even in the South, like it's still even as low as $5. Like that's a crying shame. It's criminal. It's criminal to do that to humans. Have them doing that kind of work. Even flipping a damn burger deserves $20 an hour if you ask me, because you stand on your feet all damn day. Even if you work in that Burger King, McDonald's, you still deserve like you still gotta flip them fucking burgers, deal with horrible ass customers, annoying ass customers, and be nice and give emotional labor and act like you actually freaking care about their fucking hot French fries. But imagine the jobs that are more than just we perceive to just be working at McDonald's or whatever, but a Burger King. But imagine the jobs that require considerably more skill set. And, like like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and so he has to come around on those things, or else because again he has to. Yes, it's good that you like free speech and that you like certain things for American people, American based policies, but at the same time, like American people's quality of life and index of happiness matters. Like American people deserve more than what we've been getting from from politicians in general, especially Democrats, especially the Democrats with them with these open borders, and they letting our country be literally invaded, and they're trying to justify how immigration is somehow going to trickle down and benefit Black Americans or benefit me. Even if I wasn't, even like just think about it. Use your damn logical brain. How is that going to benefit us to have random people come into your country, whether it's legal or illegal? Look, I ain't trying to go there because I do understand that it is a certain frequency that to me everything is frequency these days, and so even me entertaining that kind of conversation, it kind of messes up my vibe, and so it's a little low level to me, but at the same time it is a reality. I'm still in America. I still work. We still gotta survive. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna act like I don't think about them things, and it's annoying. Like I don't see how immigration is gonna benefit my motherfucking people, and so I think I applaud him for being tough on that. But at the same time, like no, buddy, you gonna have to come up off of them views on minimum wage and employment. Minimum wage definitely needs to be fucking $20 to $25 an hour. That's just minimum for all Americans, legal citizens, mind you. And so they get mad at me because they want us to accept $7.25. I'm not accepting no $7.25. I just turned down, I mean, I can see if it's just something you doing on the side, independent contract work, like Amazon Mechanical Turk. I used to do Amazon Mechanical Turk in like 2017. And I ended up actually forgetting about it. Like I just literally just forgot about Amazon Mechanical Turk until like this year again. I'm like, yo, what's up with Amazon Mechanical Turk? Does it still work? And I found out they kind of went to shit. So now it's like, new little things like, with the little surveys and whatnot that you fill out. I could see shit like that. But even even they done got a little shoddy. But I could see stuff like that. But like stuff you do in your spare time, but just really just dicking us around like that, like we damn cattle or her, like Michael Jackson said, they don't really care about us. And y'all about to learn that shit in 2024. Y'all about to learn that for real, for real. And y'all gonna be mad as a motherfucker. And for those of us, we gonna be looking at you like, told you, because y'all called us conspiracy theorists. Y'all made us enemies of the state. Y'all hated us. Y'all said we wasn't complying. Y'all said we was this. Y'all we was hard headed. We thinking too much. We calling ourselves free thinkers. We this. We that. We don't want to fall in line. Y'all got mad at us because we questioned everything because we didn't take the jibby jab. Y'all questioned us and got upset at us, but y'all gonna eat crow. Just like how there is times in my life where I had to eat crow, and I admit when I have to eat crow, right? But all of y'all that called us conspiracy theorists and we just dramatic and we thinking too much and we too deep and we just want to be seen and we just want y'all gonna be looking to us for advice. You regular drone automaton Americans that don't think about worth a damn. That goes with groupthink. Y'all gonna really be waking up, and I don't want to hear it. I don't. I'll continue to talk my shit and to give out my gems and give out my wisdom and knowledge. Uh, but uh you're not gonna get my energy freely like y'all used to, because you abused it or you try to steal and take and whatnot, and then they denigrate and discredit and then degrade those of us that could see what was coming before it came. And so when y'all about to live through the thick of it, sure is, y'all about to really see in 2024 to 2045. It's about to get real. Now, like I said, any of us that knows how to work with the electromagnetic field and molecular action, let's make some shit happen. Let's tear that hole in that time space continuum and merge your IPU. Let's merge a collective IPU as humanity. We can do that, or even as America, but we can do that. There's nothing stopping that. That happens through thought consciousness. But anyways, let's look at his views on education. So we got, he says, I actually have something I would use the Department of Education to do. It would be to monitor our institutions of higher education for extreme political bias and deny federal funding on that basis. This controversial suggestion was criticized by very commentators who question its constitutionality and practicality. What do you mean by that? Let's see. He asserted that the AP. Okay. And so, again, I want to know what his views are updated. It's almost 10 years from now. He said this shit in 2015. What are your updated views? Because how do you monitor institutions for extreme political bias? You mean because the thing is, I ain't gonna hold you. They was fucking with the right, and I don't get involved in none of that. I'm independent of all of that. I pick and choose what I like based on what meets my needs and the needs of my community. But I have to say, they were very much fucking with the with the right. I mean, and so there was a lot of political bias going on, even in the education system, social media. We saw how big tech cracked down on conservative views on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. We saw it. We saw it, and we all know what happened. And we know that big tech was in Silicon Valley was very liberal, very liberal. Hollywood is very liberal. It's left, and so and it's a lot of these institutions are left too, believe it or not. And so and I've been in academia, so I've seen it firsthand. I seen firsthand how people were shamed for even in an academic arena for supporting Trump or supporting conservative views, or even libertarians. Like libertarians were frowned upon. I remember, at Buffalo State College, like we used to have like this like free thinker group or whatever. And I remember like like being a libertarian was seen as like you were like some racist, selfish, evil person, just being a libertarian. And so, well, I might not be a libertarian myself. I never quite understood like why was it from the top down why were we being brainwashed in academia to believe that libertarian was extremely wrong. Anarchy was, like we would just be you could feel the programming. Conservatism was wrong, like you were racist, and like all these stuff. Like I clearly remember being indoctrinated with all that stuff. That doesn't mean I let it indoctrinate me. I didn't sit there and just absorb it and believe it. I just remember thinking like, yeah, whatever. Half of the time, I was in my own little fucking world, and so I was thinking of they telling me something. I'm thinking 300 years ahead, sitting in class about some shit. So a lot of things didn't successfully program and social engineer my ass, and I think that's why, they kind of like, how did you slip through the goddamn cracks? How did you get to Columbia University and then you out here spewing it and writing the stuff that you write? Like you're supposed to be like this indoctrinated automaton. Like, why are you on the internet talking about electromagnetism and chaos intelligence and resonance and entropy and all the things you talking about? Why are you writing about the Queen Mothership, the divine food? Like, come on, you were in a monarch program to go one way. You just go the straight way, and you done broke your program, and then you all over. That's how I think they feel about me. Like, oh shit. And I'm not the only one. I'm just saying. I just find it funny. To spend 12, 13 years in academia, and then you kind of like you look at it, and it's like such a far deviation from the typical public intellectual, from the typical academic. Like, in a lot of ways, that's a good thing, and in the spirit's eyes and God's eyes. But for this system, is like, it's like, hell no. But anyways, I still stand. I still think that Bill Carson would be good. Under for the running mate. I'm still looking. I'm speed reading as I'm going through this. Healthcare. I don't feel like reading for that. I ain't even gonna hold it. Immigration. Secure the U.S. he's adjusted using drones to secure the U.S. Mexico border. I guess. Oh man, so yeah, that's why he never got a shake because he don't go for that immigration shit. And a lot of Black Americans, what day and age we on. The day and age we on. And so he got some policies on marriage and drugs. I'm sorry, he has some policies on marijuana and drug policy. Some views on marriage and LGBTQ issues. Let's see. Marriage is between a man and a woman. No group, be they gays, be they people who believe in bestiality, doesn't matter what they are. They don't get to change the definition. And obviously, that's another reason why the left comes after him. But this is like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like we could act like we want to, we are against him or whatever. But it's many of Black Americans that think the same shit in their head. Let's be real. Even if you don't care who somebody dating, who they marry, like it's a lot. And I personally don't care about that topic. But I understand. I understand what he's saying. Like I'm not going to sit in here and condemn him or judge him just because we share a different view. That's just me. That's just me. And so all I'm saying is when we look at his views for what they are, I just don't agree with that minimum wage thing. Like, no. Mm-mm. They got a minimum wage to be $20, $25. But like, and it's 2024. So that was 10 years ago when he said that. But like, a lot of his views is stuff that a lot of Black Americans naturally gravitate towards, even though they vote for Democrats to the tune of 90 to 96%. Foreign affairs and defense. Let me look at that. Religious freedom and separation of church and state. And so, I think it's something that could, I personally, out of all the running mates that are available, Ben Carson is the only one that makes sense to me. And also, Him and Trump, they respect each other. There's not a lot of, look at this. Let me play this. Let me see if I can play this. Is this still playing? Okay. We're coming up on 2 hours now, so I'm gonna hurry up. Let me see if I could make this bigger. Oh no, that's not what yeah, I know y'all saw that little girl. I'm gonna do a video on her too. Let me get that little girl off my screen. Ugh, I hate when this does that. I'm trying to. Here we go. Donald Trump. Usually, I don't think I can play the sound. I don't know about like copyright strikes or anything. So pretty much, this is a video of like ABC and ABC News messing up Dr. Ben's Carson's introduction, and everybody else walked past him. Did nobody give a fuck? But the only person that actually did care and walked out together was him and Donald Trump. So I'll just play it so you guys can see it. But I don't, since it's ABC News, I don't want them, trying to come after me for like the strike thing. So we'll just play this. But pretty much, Trump stayed back with him while everybody else went out when they messed up his name. As you can see, they all walking past him and stuff. And so Trump kind of knew. I mean, I don't know what he knew, but he that's his friend. It's like somebody he respect. See how everybody just walked past because they messed up Bill and Carson's name. And so you see it right there. And so he stayed back with him so they could fix it. And so I think that will be a good look. I don't see anybody else that makes sense. I really don't. I don't see nobody that make damn sense. Ben Carson already ran for already was the secretary for HUD. I actually want to look more into that. I would like to look more into that actually. And then it says like Ben Carson, Vivek Ramaswamy, or Kerry Lake. If you had to pick one to be President Trump's VP choice, who would it be? Drop your response. So let's actually look at the responses here. Let's see what people were saying. Why did they keep you see me click on it? I don't know why this does that. I'm trying to let me just make this bigger then. I don't know why this is so annoying. Okay. This only does this when I go live, by the way. This should do not do that when I just be looking at my bookmarks for its own sake. But anyways, maybe I could just copy the link. I'll copy. Let's see, I could just copy the link here. They probably open it up in a new window, and then we'll be able to actually see. Let's see if it works that way. And it does. Okay, so I'll share this tab instead. And let's see. So people are saying Vivek, definitely not Kerry Lake. Vivek is a lot like Obama, and the fact that he's a man with a golden voice that says what people want to hear, but in the end, he's backstabbing liar that would destroy what's left of this country. Woo. Definitely not Vivek. And I love Ben Carson and actually supported him for president. Okay. Only Vivek for me. I love Ben Carson and have deep respect for him. I like Curry. Like I think Vivek is no, he's not. Him and Trump don't get along, and that's what people don't realize. Him and Trump's personality and the Vivek personality, they're not gonna get along. Vivek is an immigrant energy. He give you that. He not an old time American. He don't have an old. I hate saying that because Trump got some generations here, but Ben Carson's been here longer as an American. But I'm telling you, Trump's and Vivek energy is going to clash. Their views are they're different. Vivek plays the puppet role, like, oh, if I just go after the black folks and go after, and he think that's going to give him some grace with old Vanguard GOP, old Vanguard Americans, and it doesn't. Because believe it or not, people respect Ben Carson more than a Vivek. They don't care that he's black. He has more respectability. He has more respect regardless, even if you are racist or not. And so, Vivek, he's a one trick pony to me. I don't get anything substantive of him. I don't get anything genius about him. I don't see what he's going to do for this fucking country. What is Vivek going to do for this country? Except he tries to placate to Middle America with ideologue, racist rhetoric. That's not going to work in 2024. Because honestly, like people, Americans is moving past a lot of that. Believe it or not, like they want some real tangibles. We talking about across the board, beyond race. Like people is going beyond that movement of the divisive energy. You know, this dichotomous, uh, black or white energy. A lot of Americans, and this go for again all Americans. We talking about old vanguard Americans, people that have been here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before the country even was formated. The people, it's millions, tens of millions of us still, right? Um, they moving beyond it. That's not that little one trick pony that the politicians use for all these years. Trump can't even use that this year. He can't use that in 2024. That energy that he used in 2020 in 2016 to win with the you know, they coming to, you know, they're dividing conquer type energy. That shit ain't gonna work. People more than they can see through that. They kind of like, yeah, like this. That's what blew up Ron DeSantis bullshit. Like people was with him, you know. Some people agree with him with being harsh on immigration, but it's when he went after them Black Americans, and then it was like, what, huh? It's like people don't got time for all of that, the race based stuff, like where you try to divide people solely on that and try to win a campaign off of it. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for a white person, an Indian person, a Black American Indian, a Black American person. It's not gonna work for anybody that tries to do that. I'm just saying it's the energy. You got to pay attention to the state of consciousness that you're in. You do. It matters. It matters. Just because you in a 3D simulation with a simulation matrix, it doesn't mean there's not an overarching consciousness governing the entire program. The entire program. Okay? And so if you forget the program that we are in, pretty much the day and age that we are in, that's all you need to know. Then you miss moments. And that's what Ron DeSantis did. It's like, and even Nikki Haley with her, that was just idiotic, completely idiotic. And she's brown one day, she's a brown skin, and then she wants to, slavery didn't matter, and all this stuff, and her damn daughter is married to a Black man, all this shit. Like, my thing is like that kind of ridiculousness. Like that's not a winning strategy. It's not a winning strategy. When are you gonna fucking wake up? And Democrats, they just running around here like chickens with their motherfucking heads cut off. They are completely out of their mind. Like, you know, so it's like, and that's how you could kind of tell that again, there's a hole within the space-time dilution of the universe, merging two realities into one. And you know, and that's why shit's falling apart. That's why shit is not. It just don't look good. It's a shit show. Is because it is what it is. It's like we moving past that again. There's a simulation with a simulation, and then there's. You got you trying to program your little matrix and program the things you want to come out, and then there's something way over that. It's something over that. I tried to tell y'all that wanted to label me and discredit me. I tried to tell y'all motherfucking ass, and I don't care because I'm gonna be vindicated. Told y'all, I ain't gonna do that because they already be coming after me. They be already like Cat Williams said, like. You know, I had to learn the hard way. Like I still ain't gonna join them, but I respect them a little bit more. Sometimes I'll be having them little moments while I still ain't gonna join them, but I got the message. But I have to say, I'll say that, you know, and I know they respect me too, but it's like, yeah, I told y'all the blank blank A don't have nothing on the GIA. That's all I'll say. For those who looked at it, who think that who sees that classified information now, they don't have nothing on the GIA. And I told you that this is a simulation of the simulation. For those who hear me, you know, it's like it's a new day and age. That's all I gotta say. It's a new day and age. They sit up there running these dumbass campaigns. Nikki Haley, she ought to be ashamed of herself. Just you might as well just take a gun and just point it at your foot and say boom and pull the boom. That's what she did. Ron DeSantis, take a gun and just point it at your foot and say boom. That's what the fuck y'all did. Vivek, Ram Smart, whatever your name is. Just take a gun and just point it at your foot and say, boom. That's what the fuck y'all doing. Biden, just come out. Like, what is y'all doing? It's a mess. It's a mess. And it's fascinating for us. That shit is fascinating. But at the same time, it's like we want the best for the American people, right? We want the best for for what we're the age that we're going into. That's why I said for 2028 it needs to be golden age for America, not the same shit y'all tried in 2016 and 2020, 2010. Not 2010. Was it Obama was 2008, right? Yeah, 2008. Yep, 2012. Like that them strategies got to be really updated, man. They got to be really updated. And they talking about they got these think tanks and all that stuff. I mean, what kind of thinking is y'all motherfucking doing? Y'all need to instead of trying to blacklist my ass, y'all need to try to you need to come talk to me. Seriously. Because I be doing this shit on the fly. Like if I really was to put my mind to and actually come up with a plan and a strategy and a framework and can really study a blueprint and really just be like, okay, this needs to be tweaked. This is what we need to do. This is how we need to pivot. This is how we can do it. This is how, and then, but no, nope, nope, nope. What was that verse? What is this brilliant verse that it's in Boss by Jay-Z. Jay-Z and let's see. I'm about to read it to you. I want to hear it. I want to get it. Let's see. I haven't looked through lyrics because I'm trying to get. Yeah, niggas rather work for the man than to work with me just so they can pretend they on my level. That shit is irking to me. That's how I feel. Like that's how like the chosen ones and the ancient ones and those of us with like the natural, real bloodline, like the actual spiritual credit that gold. Because again, this stuff is 3D playing out, whatever 3D 5D shit playing out. But we all know that there's subtle levels to our existence, astral levels even. And so, I'll say that the think tanks, they like to study and nitpick. And they don't do this to just me. They do this with a lot of grassroots Black Americans, that raw, authentic energy. And like I said, niggas getting jerked, that shit hurts. I take it personally. Niggas rather work for the man than to work with me just so they could pretend they on my level. That shit is irking to me. And so why we may not have, okay, all of this monetary stuff in this realm, in this matrix, as like on the other flip side, on the astral level, that's where we see these people, these weirdos, like trying to steal our content, trying to mimic our body of work, trying to copy and all this stuff. And that's what I mean by that. Niggas rather work for the man than to work with me just so they can pretend they're on my level. That shit is irking me. We talking about not the level of like all of this what you guys would put value on as far as money. We're talking about the mind power, the spiritual power, the prana, the chi, the creativity, the genius, that type of stuff. And so for those of us, the chosen ones that are dealing with that, it's a new day and age. Well, let's watch this shit show. Let's watch this shit burn. Let's watch it be what it's gonna be. And when everybody is crumbling and fumbling around and da 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 da, we make our moves. That's all I gotta say. When they run around like chickens with their heads cut off and shocked and panicking and all that, we stay calm, we stay reserved, we stay strategic, we already see it coming, we look, the coast is clear, and we take over. That's simply what we have to wait for. And this is not me giving out no codes or no game. Or like, oh, you telling all of our plans? Come on. Come on. Really? Really? That's nothing. It's nothing compared to what's coming. That's nothing. You pretty much watched it. What, the Leave Behind, Leave the World Behind movie? Like, come on, let's not act like they don't put the shit in movies beforehand. But yeah, let's watch this political shit show. Uh, let's hope that let's hope that I'm gonna make sure that this recorded on the other. Let's hope that Ben Carson gets the VP presidency for Trump, and if he does get it, let's put pressure on Ben Carson's ass to get this anti crime bill for anti hate crime bill for Black Americans on that platinum plan for Black America on the list. In addition to that, we'll talk about the Black American redress. We got some time for that because we got to carve that out better as well. Got to work on that. But it's on the table. It's on the docket. It's on a public. It's on a national lexicon. It's in the atmosphere. So that's nothing we have to really worry about as far as our reparations. Like, we're gonna get that, but we do got to make some more power moves though before we can actually realize that. Because to be honest, Democrats is not gonna give us that shit, and Republicans right now with the way we gotta kind of wait for this shit to kind of shudder. I ain't gonna hold you. We're gonna have to wait for this shit to kind of like to kind of like fold a little bit more before we can before we can see that come to fruition. But it will. So ain't nothing to worry about. I'm going to get off of here. I just wanted to make sure that let me make sure that this is all recorded. Okay, so I'm about to get off of here, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye.